evening, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Crone Zone Conversations with the Ancients. My name's Priscilla, and this is my co-host, Heather.
Hi.
Evening, Heather. And tonight,
Yeah.
our background is Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
That's what the show's about. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Did you throw cards for tonight?
You know what? I didn't. Just give me a second.
All righty.
I will.
Fantastic. I know I didn't even think about it before.
Neither did I. We were so busy talking about so much other stuff. I forgot all about it. It won't take me but a minute or three.
Hey, White Dragon. Hi, Laurie Hunsinger.
And it's
Linda Day Gonzalez. Hey, everybody. This is going to be fun. We're going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to do a brief outline about Mount Shasta, just a little bit, and then we're going to get in. And also, because Heather and I went to Mount Shasta, after we talk a little bit about where Mount Shasta is and all that sort of stuff, we're going to tell you a little bit about our experiences at Mount Shasta, and we have photos to boot. Hi, Mary Ellen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So nice to see everybody here tonight. And then Heather's going to tell us what she saw in her remote viewing. And after that, she's going to take questions, and she can go back in and remote view the answer to your question when you're asking it. So she's going to remote view live after she gives us some basic information. So I've got a little banner that says, please put your questions in all caps and emojis so I can star them. Is that about it, Heather?
I'm ready. Yeah. The first card is integrity, and that's what we are. We work on integrity. But sometimes our confidence gets in the way.
Or lack of.
You got to look at positive and negative. Sometimes the lack of confidence gets in the way of our integrity. Meanwhile, our spirits have all the power we want. And we're still working with the celestial as humans. So, our confidence, yes, sometimes it's not really what we want because we're lacking some. But they said if you just think about immunity, that things can't get to us, that we are being protected because we asked for it, then everything's going to go back to normal. And the feline that they have, that's usually, waiting and wait, see if you can trip us up. You can't do it. So our confidence gets out of the way, okay? So basically, we are people of integrity. Sometimes our lack of confidence gets in the way of that.
Yeah.
We want to say something, but we're really not sure. But then again, if we know that we've set up the immunity so that we're speaking with the people we're supposed to be speaking with, then there's no problem. And everybody else just has to wait because we're working the way we should.
Sweet.
So
thanks, Heather.
Sure.
So I just wanted to say our last show on Tuesday was about the violet flame, and there were some violet flame meditations. And I don't know if anybody has tried them other than me, but they were pretty powerful. And I encourage you to, if you missed that violet flame show, to please go back and watch it. And also, we're right in the middle of the energies of the full moon. And Saturday, Valerie from Illumination Portal was here and was helping us understand the skies at this time. I'll just put it that way because it was so much more than just the full moon in Aquarius. So you might want to go back and watch that one. Or hers and Diana's program last night. They also did a show on the full moon and all the other crazy things going on in the sky on Illumination Portal. So you watch it there as well.
And when you get to talking with them, you just learn so much stuff.
You really do. And I just can't get enough about the astrology of stuff. It's really fascinating. Just wanted to say hi to Bora Bora and Diane G. and Mary Ellen and Laurie Hunsinger and Linda Day Gonzalez and
White Dragon and everybody else that's here.
And anybody I missed.
Yes, and then anybody who sees us afterwards.
Exactly.
So,
So tonight we're going to talk about Heather's remote view of Mount Shasta, inside and outside, actually, I think. But before we get there, I just want to talk a bit about Mount Shasta for anybody that is not really familiar with Mount Shasta. It's located in the Shasta Trinity National Forest in Northern California, and it's an active stratovolcano that formed roughly 593,000 years ago. Its last recorded eruption occurred in 1786, and the area remains tectonically active, and earthquakes are relatively common. And as I was researching more of this stuff, I also found out that they really do advise people not to climb on Mount Shasta because it is volcanically active. It's a dangerous place to be. Who knew? I never felt any danger there.
no, I didn't either.
So the oldest human settlement in the area date back 7,000 years. Now note I said human there. The oldest human settlement, 7,000 years. The mountain is a sacred place for several different Native Americans tribes. The indigenous tribes can date their lineages back to the time when eruptions actually took place there a little over 3,000 years ago. Hey, Akila. They saw the mountain as the center of their universe and integral, is that how you say it, to their creation myths. Only medicine men and women were allowed to climb above the tree line, for it was thought to be too powerful for ordinary people to visit and inhabited by hosts of potentially dangerous spirits and guardians who could harm a person who traveled up the mountain unprepared.
Well, remember, we had gone in off the side of the road into the woods and being told, this is as far as you can go back,
Yep,
which we did.
with no problem.
No problem. We just, yeah. So I don't think that that's just hearsay
Yeah.
stuff.
No, I don't think it's just myth either.
So Mount Shasta is said to be the home of several hidden civilizations. I believe that. And many believe the mountain is home to the descendants of the lost continent of Lemuria. True. And when the scientists and priests of Lemuria realized their continent was about to sink, they petitioned a group called the Agartha Network. And that controlled all the subterranean cities on the planet and asked permission to build their own city underneath Mount Shasta. And the Lemurians are said to have settled in this hidden city called Telos, the city of light, and is now the home of many galactic beings. True. Anyway, over the years, their offspring have been reported in the area 7 foot tall, wearing white flowing robes and paying for goods in gold. Well, I don't know about the paying, but I can tell you for one thing, the one that came to visit us, tall dude, very, very tall. Anyway, Asara Adams, who channels Adama of Telos, has astral projected into Telos. And Lowell Johnson, a hiker, says he was invited in and has an amazing story to tell. And those are the websites. Do you have them down there?
At the beginning of the comments.
Okay. So no problem. You guys have seen them.
Many people believe Mount Shasta is not only a home for the Lemurians, but it's also an interplanetary and intergalactic multi-dimensional portal. I forgot to put up my banner. Hang on. Okay. There are also reports of Bigfoot being seen on some remote areas of Mount Shasta, along with many other mysterious beings. In addition to Bigfoot, the forests of the mountain are also said to be inhabited by a strange race of dwarves as well as fairies. There's also a mysterious group of people called the Yoctavians who are said to use sound waves to manipulate and shape reality. And there are supposedly top secret military installations operating deep underground. I hope you'll let us know about these things. Another
I know
phenomenon.
that there's a lot of places that we were told we couldn't go because it's military.
Right.
You know, they have half of the mountain is closed off.
On the outside. What about the inside?
I only
Later.
want to tell us
Later.
later.
Okay. Anyway, another phenomenon of Mount Shasta is the intense UFO activity reported on the mountain. Dancing lights, mysterious flashes, orbs, metallic craft, glowing objects, luminous cigar-shaped objects, jellyfish-like craft, silent silver airships, and fleets of lights making amazing maneuvers. Sorry, that's you.
That's what they keep going. That goes with it.
It did. Fleets of lights making amazing maneuvers have all been reported from here since long before electricity was even a thing. Don't you love it?
Uh-huh. And whether these are crafts used by the alleged Lemurians or not, some force within Mount Shasta is drawing visitors from beyond our world here, and they use that portal. Another belief about the mountain is that it serves as an extremely potent and powerful energy vortex, and it's crisscrossed with ley lines, which are intersecting paths of energy. And this mysterious energy purportedly has a variety of astounding effects, such as revitalizing the spirit, enabling deep meditation, creating feelings of euphoria, causing vision quests, healing the body, bestowing profound spiritual guidance and allowing interdimensional travel or passage into metaphysical realm. And before she goes on with more, I can tell you right now, they also shake the ground. So all of a sudden you don't know why the ground is moving. You swear you're in a earthquake, but nobody else is feeling it. And I'm going, what the heck is going on? You know,
am I having a stroke? Lordy.
Am I nuts? I can feel this. Nobody else is feeling this. So, go ahead.
Enhancing one's ability to astral project or to channel spirits and inspiring creativity among others. Even the water is believed to have certain healing effects. People come from far and wide with bottles and jugs to collect it. No matter what you believe, Mount Shasta has something for everybody. But before we get to Heather's remote view of Mount Shasta, we actually would like to share with you some of our experiences on Mount Shasta because it was pretty phenomenal.
And we were only there 3 days or
3 days.
3 days.
So first of all, we walked. I want to go here. This is the labyrinth, and this is really basically at the tree line. This is the labyrinth on Mount Shasta. And as I was walking this labyrinth, I felt a presence next to me, and I met Saint Germain for the first time. And that
I
was
did
really
too. Without him, I was not able to walk out.
Heather. Right after I walked the labyrinth, I hadn't said anything to Heather, and she walked the labyrinth. Now speak. Please tell your experience.
Anyway, at that time, I was having difficulty with walking. That was before the surgeries that allow me to walk. And I wasn't getting the signals to move. You know, I would be walking and all of a sudden I couldn't. He got me in and out. I almost couldn't make it to the center, but he got me to the center. And I had to stop a couple times trying to get out and have to wait for him to help me move again so I could get out of it. And didn't you see me stopping a couple times?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And when you came out, you told me you had met Saint Germain, and I was like, oh, wow, that's weird. I did too. So we both, I really didn't realize Saint Germain's connection with the mountain until later, till after my experience there. So that was rather interesting. So then we take this photograph. And Heather and I believe this white, and I don't know how to make you see.
But you can see a white shadow in front of the tree.
We believe that's Saint Germain. And at the top of the tree, if you look closely, there's a face. I said in the stone, but it's not really in the stone. It's basically in the shadows of the mountain that's several miles away from us. Mm-hmm. And I believe that is my spirit, one of my spirit guides, Red Eagle, who is my, what's the word?
Uh,
Oh,
I just had it and it went out. Your sentinel.
he's my sentinel that was sent to me when I started doing energy work. Now I've got a little bit larger picture of it to see if you guys can see that. I've outlined it in red over here, the face in the stone, but I can't see my
Yeah.
pointer. But if you look closely where I've outlined in red, if you shift over to where the face is, you can see a face, and down below the last tree branch is kind of circle, and I don't know what that circle it is, but it reminds me of like the bone necklaces that Indian shamans would wear,
Mm-hmm.
indigenous shamans would wear, and that's where well, I'm sure it was red eagle, but it was interesting that it came out in like that.
Yeah.
And this is in the Peace Garden that we went to at the base of Mount Shasta. You can see Mount Shasta in the background in the top right. This was a lavender, what do you call it? Labyrinth.
Labyrinth. And I'm
Lavender. It
so glad that it was not in season.
wasn't
I'd
blooming.
have died. I would have died.
Yeah, you can see the face now using the drawing. I was trying to figure it out yesterday, and every time I would look at it, it just got I couldn't see it anymore. I looked at it so much. Now, this is taken from the living room window right on our deck at
Yeah.
our
I slept,
B&B.
yeah, I slept on the couch, and this is from the couch when I woke up in the morning. And the first time I looked out the window, there was Mount Shasta. That's on the left. But then I looked again and started taking pictures because I can't find Mount Shasta on the right picture.
All you could see were the trees. And the next picture shows Mount Shasta again. It's just
Right.
ridiculous. It just disappeared and then it appeared again. So those were our crazy experiences. I don't think that's the last one.
Yeah, it
And
was.
there's the beautiful mountain.
And what was great about it was that you were sleeping in the bedroom and back. And when you came in, it was like, what are you, nuts? And I say, no, there's the mountain. And then in a few minutes, I said, look, there's no mountain.
Yeah, it was very weird.
It was
Okay, Heather,
weird.
I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Okay. And I was going to mention to Lori Hunsaker, yes, I've been told that the reason I can feel them is because I was tuned into their frequency so I could feel them, and they're waking up. I haven't felt them for a while, so I figure they must be doing pretty well.
Interesting.
So,
I'm glad we got to see. I'm glad I could find them to put them up because
yeah.
boy, that's a couple of years ago. I had to go digging for those photos, but I'm glad we had them because I know we've talked about them and lots of people hadn't seen them.
Yeah, it's just they're unbelievable that the mountain disappeared. I just didn't get it. You know, like, okay, what's going on here? And anyway,
So here we go with your experience as remote viewing the inside of Mount Shasta.
yeah. And I wanted to let you know that this was one of the first places I tried to remote view. And like most of the times, I get a page to 3 pages of stuff that I'm writing down that I saw. And this time there was about a gap, like that big of stuff. And I'm going, what's, you know, it was one of the first times. And I've been going, okay, I can see buildings, I can see light. Why can't I see any details? And when I asked that with the Akashic Records, they said, because you're getting too excited. You're so happy you made it there that you're afraid that you're going to bother somebody, or you're too excited and you don't see the rest of stuff, you leave. So
I think that's so funny, but I totally get that. I kept doing that when I would try to astral project. I'd get so excited I was out of my body. Boom, I'd be right back.
That's right. That's right. So that's what was happening. So the next time I tried, I ended up with a page full of stuff. And again, I landed in the middle of Tellus. I knew there was a lot of what I see is more like what I know. You know, I can see it after I know it, then I can see the things. So I also had gotten the message that I need to go back to Mount Shasta. So I went. And I also got the message that we need to go back physically.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah, we're supposed to go back again because now that we've experienced it, we can experience it more fully. That makes
Cool.
sense? So
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
So what I found was that it's a white city with anywhere from 3 to 6 foot, 6-story buildings. They don't seem to be much more than 6 foot. That's tall for them. Some of them have oval entrances. Some of them have rectangular. You can tell that there's architecture used in the city. It's not just building. You can tell that it's been designed really nicely.
You said it's white. Is it like crystal white? Is it crystalline, or is it like adobe painted white, or
More like marble white.
marble white? Wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, more like marble white. Sometimes they have triangles. We call it modern art, but theirs is, like I said, it's really well done. And it has a river running through it. The people that I saw at that time had white robes. The buildings were white. There was white light. There was a white waterfall. No pollution whatsoever in the water. In fact, no boats in the water, no people in the water, just pristine water.
No
And that's
fish.
like,
No fish.
no, I never saw any fish. It's their water
Just
supply.
water.
Mm-hmm.
Heather,
And
Heather, can you not lean forward? Every time you lean forward, there gets funny lines. What are the
okay,
white light lines that are moving to either side of Heather? It's called, we're not focused in very well. We were having trouble with focusing earlier. So that's all it is,
yes,
Laurie.
technical issues. Anyway,
Yeah.
I wanted to let you know that water is the same water that we got at the park.
City Park is the headwaters for the Sacramento River, and you can go into City Park and take your jugs and bottles and stick them up to the headwaters and fill your water jugs with this absolutely pristine, delicious, icy cold water from the springs. And by the way, I just wanted to mention Heather and I went to Mount Shasta in 2022, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And our first episodes, 45, 46, and 47, are all about our trip. Before we went, we did a live with, what's her name? That we did live with.
I just
Mount
knew it too. I hate it when you have it and it's gone. She lives there, but she
Not
will
now. She moved. She's moved.
Yeah, she moved. She just moved.
Okay, you guys, who was living in Mount Shasta?
White Dragon, you know who she is.
Our brains are fried.
She's got dark hair and she's got a healing channel as well as talking with other and
Dr. Gale, thank you, Laurie. Oh my God,
you.
how can we forget Dr. Gale?
Dr. Gale, yeah, it's like we're so
and
busy with
Dr. Gale. So one of our episodes we did on the porch of our B&B with Dr. Gale, and that was a lot of fun. And then we did one when we got back. So those episodes 45 through 47, if you're interested in learning a bit more about.
And she's a great person. So
she is lovely.
Anyway, in the city of Telos, it's light 24/7. There is no darkness. It's just always light.
And what provides the light?
The crystals. There's crystals all over the side and along. You can't really say it's on walls because it's so much brought out. But along the ceiling, there are just crystals emitting so much light. It's so like cool. Daylight, and you don't need lights on the streets or anything.
Well, I guess you don't need to sleep if you're not really, if you're mainly a light body.
Yeah, they're mainly light bodies. I mean, I could see them, but not necessarily as humans. I just knew that they were there. Does that make sense? You can feel their presence. Um, and really, they only dress as human beings when they go out. And they don't necessarily stay in Telos. They go into actually Mount Shasta, the city. And they'll shop there or they'll walk around. And we saw several. So we didn't know they were, but we kind of figured it out. Oh, yeah, they are, So, but they only dress as human beings when they're not down in the city. I know that they were aware that I was there and they were guiding me different times. They had, like office buildings and apartment buildings. I mean, whatever they wanted, if they wanted them there. They had greenhouses that had greenery. Otherwise, the houses were white. And they do come down from the surface with things, supplies or some other things that they want from the surface. They even have brought people down from the surface to visit. Everybody seems to be healthy and busy and happy with whatever they're doing. And I only saw the adults. Okay. But it was such a big area, I would be surprised if there weren't younger entities there. And they weren't all just tall whites. I mean, they had lots of visitors. That's a hub for a lot of different
stars.
Yeah, and other aliens and things like that. So there's
what kind of beings did you see? Was it light bodies that you could see?
They're mostly light bodies. I just knew that they were there. I wasn't really seeing any particular one. The only one I really saw was the one that came to meet us.
Lindell.
He's really tall, good looking, has a really nice, kind face. He was dressed in like a vest, not a suit vest, just a nice, working vest, and jeans. I can see him.
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah, and I even listed on here white marble and crystals.
We have a question about, wait a minute, what was it? What sound? What did it sound like? Did you hear any music, noises, wind? I don't know.
I could hear the waterfall. I could
really noise.
Yeah, most of it was the waterfall. And when there's noise like that with my ears, even just being there, and I know there are sounds, but I don't necessarily hear them, or like you would expect you to hear. But I knew that waterfall was huge. And I was told how to get there.
How many stories tall? How many stories tall would you say the waterfall was? Just to give us some kind of perspective.
What came into my head was Empire State Building.
Wow.
Because I was asking the Empire State Building. Okay, I believe that. It was humongous. It was just huge white water falling down. There were paths on rocks, and it seemed like there were, if you wanted to go hiking, you could go on those paths. I was also told those paths will take them to an exit, but those exits are monitored to keep people in and out.
Right. Was there anything behind the waterfall?
No, I just see it was water, and all the water that was coming from melted snow and rain and that kind of stuff. So it was absolutely fresh.
I love that Seven Sons Coffee Shop. That's actually where we met Lindell and some girls that were.
Yeah.
The
tall dude. Yeah, he sat down with us. I watched him as he came in the gate and just sat down with us. He was just the quietest person I've ever seen.
I never felt him, never saw him, never.
But he
Had a
just
clue you were
kept,
there.
and he kept looking at you. I was like, yeah, I know you're there, but I'm more interested in her. I said, okay, you know.
And I was totally clueless.
And I just left him alone.
But Seven Sons has great coffee. And
Yes, it
bakery
does.
goods, I believe it was.
And I
Sandwiches.
really like the atmosphere. Okay, that was the second time I went. So you see, there was more that I saw that time. I was able to calm down a little bit and see. And then I went back again because I wasn't sure where all this stuff that I had written down before was. And so I went back during this week. And I was inside a building, and there were halls, and they weren't empty anymore. They were beings in the hall, aliens
Cool.
walking busily up and down. Some had briefcases, others looked like human beings. Nothing was just loose and all over the place. They were on a mission. They were going somewhere. And they would say hello, some of them, and so they must have seen me because they actually said hello to me. And others didn't seem to see me because they didn't say anything. They just or they were super busy, one or the other. But a lot of them said hello.
That's
Everything
so neat.
And which is normal for me because I walk the dog and I don't care who it is. I just say hello to whoever I see, which took you a while to get used to. And anyway, so everything was clean and tidy. And there were doors down the hallway. Some of them you could tell were opened and some of them were closed. And when we went down the hall, I went towards the hub, and it was kind of like an old Western wheel, wagon wheel that had spokes, and those spokes were different hallways that you could go down, but there was a central area in the main. And there was lots of room for everybody. All the sections were very large, with seats, not necessarily chairs, but seats. It seemed to be kind of like in the central area was kind of like a waiting area, like for visitors of the planet. I got the impression it was a lot like when you first watched the first movie of Men in Black, and you're going down the elevator and you see all these lines and people and aliens standing in line ready to come in. It kind of reminded me of that.
Oh, that's funny.
That's what I thought. But it looks a lot more comfortable and a lot more relaxing depending on where you were. It was really busy. And it seemed like not everybody could see me, but a lot of people did. There was somebody accompanying me on this one. So I was walking with somebody and they were explaining things as went along.
And did you find out who this somebody was? Did you ask their name or anything?
It was just somebody who took care of visitors. It was just, and if I had a question.
Guide.
Yeah, a tour guide. And it was explaining the different hallways, and they would go down depending on what language they were speaking, which hallway they would go. Some of this I'm getting now because I didn't remember to get it then. But depending on why they were there, as they would choose a certain hall that they would go down.
Are you talking about these are aliens that are visitors from other planets that are here, and it's a hub to send them one way or another to whatever they were doing? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's like you say that it's like a portal, right. And that portal is used. And you remember we were told that there's a lot of activity up there when we were there. So, and I believe it.
You saw it. You actually saw it.
Yeah. It's a very busy place. And there were graves. There were some of them. It wasn't. There were people that there were. Let's see. The one who was with me was gray, not human, but it had 2 arms, 2 legs, slim, fairly large head, large eyes, The feeling I got was Palladian. I don't know if that's what they look like or not, but it was friendly and somebody that I knew.
Interesting.
And let's see. It was like when I got out of there and went into the town. When you're on the outside, kind of on the outside looking in, it's kind of reminded me of San Antonio Riverwalk, because there was a river running through, but it was pristine, didn't have any boats in it. It wasn't like a tourist attraction. It was just always there, and they left it alone. The buildings were, like I said, between 4 and 6 stories high in the city, whitish, silvery, marbly. It was architecturally appealing. You could just look at it and gaze at it, and it didn't, it wasn't like looking at a big city.
What was the vibe of the place? The entire place. I mean, how were you feeling when you were there?
Very comfortable. I felt very comfortable and welcomed. It wasn't like I was a celebrity or anything. So they didn't crowd her. They let me be me, and just, if I asked a question, they were very happy to answer it. If I didn't know where to go, they would tell me. It was just friendly.
That's really interesting. Leah's asking, did you see any mantis or insectoid entities?
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I've actually seen a mantis in my room. His name was Archon, and he came to visit because he knew I wouldn't be scared of them. But he couldn't hardly get small enough to get into the room down in Key West. And all I really remember is saying, "Oh, you're here. How cool." And he's got his front claws out, and I'm trying to touch him because I wanted to shake hands with me. Come on, But it was cool. But yes, there are, but they were mostly in the reception center. I mean, there were a few out. But
what else did you see besides the insectoid mantis type? What other types are you familiar with? Did you see any Arcturians, the blue Arcturians?
Most of them were light bodies, so it was really hard to tell who they were. Light bodies were just so much easier for them to get around with.
Right.
So
Diane G has a question. Do the Pleiadians in Mount Shasta like coffee?
Yes.
I heard this from chat before, but my guides had mixed answer. I can tell you from my experience of channeling other entities, I have not met one that did not ask me for a cup of coffee.
But they didn't want it black.
They wanted it with cream and sugar. They wanted it with cream and sugar. And I'm talking people, for family members on the other side, but I'm also talking about extraterrestrials, interdimensionals. It didn't matter who they were. They knew that I had coffee, and they always wanted hot coffee. Oh, another question. Blue avians. Did you see any blue avians? Me too, Leah.
I'm not sure. I'm getting the answer of yes, but I'm not sure I would recognize them. Does that make sense?
They look like birds?
Yeah. Yeah. But they weren't downtown so much as they were out on the outskirts.
Cool. So you saw, and your companion was a gray, you think? How tall was he?
7.
So he was tall.
But he's Lemurian.
Okay, Lemurian. They don't go by Pleiadian. They go by Lemurian, don't they?
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody asked, did I smell anything? I could smell clear water. You know how clean water smells. Clean. And that's the whole place smelled clean. It's not like they're cooking food because they don't have to eat.
Yeah.
And if they're hungry, they just go out.
Where do they go out?
The coffee shops and the
Oh,
restaurants.
you mean in Mount Shasta?
Yeah.
Ooh. Um,
Gold beans. Let me see. Only in the reception center.
and what were the gold beings in the reception center?
Just knew that I had a flash of gold when I looked back. I don't really know. I asked about the water, and so they told me to follow a road which followed along the path. The path followed the river, and there was a really large lake with a very tall waterfall. Like I said, when you asked the question, I got Empire State Building. It's huge in there. And all the water is very aerated, and it's just beautiful to watch. I could have stayed at the waterfall the whole time.
Well, knowing you in waterfalls, absolutely.
Yeah. I had just watched and listened to it. They are so relaxing for me. So anyway, but it supplies all the water they need, and it's supplied by another river which gets water from outside, the snow and stuff. And there are trails from inside the mountain to the outside for those that want to go visit the human race, or they want to go do something that from the human race, what they do it. And the entrances are very, very hidden. Very, very. You don't know they're there. Not unless they want you to know.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Inside the city are stores, but they're not really stores. They're more like museums showing you things that you could do, because if they really want something, they just manifest it. But
Instant manifestation.
They can do that. It has living areas and what looks like it's parks, but it's a flatter area. It's not all buildings. It's just architecturally, it's pleasant to be there. The people there are friendly, and they pretty much mind their own and their own business, but they do answer the questions that I ask. That's how I knew about the
How do you
crystals.
ask questions? Do you just think it in your mind, and
Yeah, I said,
somebody
all right, I
inside
just
the
say
group
out loud, well,
answers?
what about this? And there's an answer immediately.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So that's it's also how I knew about the path to get to the waterfall. I asked them, I can hear it. That thing is super, super loud. So I could hear it. And of course, with my ears, which are terrible, that's probably pretty
But why
much
would your
how I.
ears be terrible in astral world? I mean, in remote viewing, why wouldn't your ears just be normal?
My ears, I was told, are a different frequency.
Okay,
So
fascinating.
that's part of my hearing loss, is that because I'm on a different frequency for hearing.
Right.
So I hear things differently.
Um,
And I love the sound of water.
yes, you do. Don't we both?
It's,
He's
you know,
asking, how would we recognize him in a cafe or any place? I recognized him after the fact.
yeah,
Apparently, Heather recognized him. Right, she saw him. I could not see him. I didn't feel his presence, but I was so nervous about meeting a Lemurian that I totally missed it.
he was more of a light body. So, but there was a group, there was it 3 girls?
3 girls, and we knew those girls were
And
Lemurian.
yeah, we knew they were because we were very interesting to them. Look at them. They
Yeah,
were,
they started a conversation up with us,
yeah.
and they were very friendly.
Yes, they were. They were.
One in particular, but I felt like she was the leader of the group.
I felt like she was in charge of the other 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the impression when I said the transportation, I wrote it down, mostly walking. It's not so much walking as it's like me with remote viewing. Oh, I want to go there. Boom, they're there. It's not like they're actually walking like human beings walk. They want to be there, they're there. They're like teleported instantly through their mind. So
Right.
they just project themselves where they want to be.
So what dimension is that? Is it like upper fifth, sixth dimensional
I got the impression it's upper fifth and sixth. Yeah. The air is clean. I didn't see any mass transit. I don't think they needed it. They just teleported where they needed to be.
Leah, you got some great questions. May I ask, what is the whirling sound that gets loud? I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's the water. And the other part of that whirling sound is that the crystals are making noise. They're singing.
Oh, wow.
So that's part of what you're hearing. Now, I'll tell you, I didn't ask that question. You just asked it. That's the answer that came back.
That's amazing. She asked, can they heal us?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that can heal us down there. The crystals themselves can do it. Let's see.
How big were the crystals? White Dragon's asking.
Oh, some of them were huge, but the whole roof area was crystal. And there were a lot of stalagmites. Is that the right word?
Stalactites are the ones that come down. Stalagmites
Yes.
are the other ones.
Yeah, then I had the right ones. There were a lot of stalactites coming down.
And they were crystal?
Yeah, they were crystal.
So
everything. And it's just like when you look up at the sky was crystal. So how big? Huge. They just like were never ending. And they were lighting everything.
Oh, this is a good one. Did anyone touch your person physically?
I don't think so. But I don't think I was solid there either.
You were a light body there.
I was a light body there. So I don't think I was a human being, so to speak.
No, you wouldn't have been. You would have been a light body there.
Yeah. Like I said, there were guards at the entrances.
I have a question.
Oh, and the crystals can be turned up and down. They can make them less or they can make them brighter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Did I see shadows anywhere? Depends on where the crystals were. It's kind of like the sun.
What do you mean by shadows, White Dragon?
Yeah, what do you mean like shadows?
Did they have any messages for you, for us?
Let me think. They're happy with us. They want us to keep going, keep our community going, and support each other.
That's cool.
And they would love to meet all of us if we just show up.
Well, I guess we're going back.
I think we're going to have to sometime.
Okay, White Dragon's saying, did you see any shadows any place, like with the sun? Like, were there places where there actually were shadows?
Yeah, there were. And it was dependent on how low the stalactite was, how bright it was, and where it was shining, because you could, but it was more like when you're looking at shadows, you have a round circle and it shadows out, it stems out like the sun because it's in the center. But where it was solid crystals, there weren't shadows. So it just kind of depended on what they did. There were more shadows when they turned the crystals lower in intensity, because then you were able to see more shadows instead of being so crystal clear. Sorry about the word crystal, but that's what I mean.
That's neat. I love this. This is a great question. Do they have an immigration office?
Yes, that's part of the portal.
Was that? I mean, where the portal is, and all those people,
and the wagon wheel. And the boards. That's their office.
Asking for a friend. Yeah. And Leah wants to know if they know we care about them.
Yeah, they do.
Really care.
They do, or they wouldn't send out messages for. Sometimes it's like, you were called, we needed to go there, and I've been called, we need to go back. So yes, they care about us, and they do know about us, and they just look for certain energies to say, "Hey, come on, we'll meet you."
So cool.
So
Road trip, Linda says. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I have fun on these things. That's why it takes me so long to write it. As I said, it takes me 2 and 3 pages when I just start, because I get going and start asking questions and just scribble.
Okay. Was it always busy when you were down there, or was there
Yeah, it was
downtime
always,
or rest
well,
time?
this time it was busy. Now, the last time, I don't think I was calm enough to see that it was busy. This last time, I could see that it's very busy, and especially, like I said, when we were in the reception area, it was, you could see how busy it was. And for white dragons, do they know where they process thousands? I got the impression that part of where they processed them was actually in that center because it's so huge. But I also think that not every single kid ended up there. I get the impression that it was done outside of the city to protect the kids and make them feel more comfortable. They could design the area to be more kid friendly.
Oh, that's cool. That's
But
nice.
that's what I'm getting. So
Leah's asking if if we ask to meet them, will they show up to meet us?
outside of the mountain? Yeah. I don't see why not. If they want to, they can. They said, yeah, they'll come. But they also said that's what they were trying to do with us at the coffee shop, is set up a time to meet them.
Yeah.
So I believe it. Because that hub was so huge.
It could hold thousands and thousands is what I'm getting. Not just hundreds, but thousands and thousands.
Right. So, and I think from what what they're clarifying is, yes, the children were there, but they were in a certain particular, in one particular hallway that was child friendly. And they were in that great big area, but they were in one or two hallways that was just for them. So they wouldn't be so scared.
We've got a request to do the Grand Canyon, and I think that's a great idea. There are, can you please do a remote on the Grand Canyon's first Native people before?
Did you write it down?
Yes,
We'll just add it to our list. There are so many places.
Okay, can we line up at that aisle and say, ping me up, Scotty, at the end? Oh, God, I would love to. Yes, it's a triage station. Yeah.
Okay.
Where the kids and adults were brought was the triage station. Sure.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Because any one of those long hallways with huge rooms on either side, they could have been designed anyway. It's just that's what I'd seen.
So she wants the people before the Indians. She wants to know what happened pre Homo sapiens sapien.
Okay. We'll write that down and I will try to go back there.
Thanks for the suggestion. We love suggestions.
Yes. This was just a comment from me. I said the people all seem taller than me. Well, let's face it, I'm not a tall person. Even down here, they all seem taller than me.
I was going to say hello. That's funny.
So, but being a light body, I'm still short.
That's funny.
So,
I'm writing it
sacred
down.
places they hang out. They actually have coffee shops down there.
Are you
And
joking? They had a coffee shop?
yeah, I mean, if they don't want to go to the surface, they can just enjoy themselves down there. So
To add to RVV Athena. If you want us
not
to.
yet. I've been working on the show. That's my next thing. Probably tomorrow I'll go back.
Can we publish that? I mean, can we do the Athena on the show?
He said yes.
Okay.
So
Okay, that
we'll
would be
do what we
great.
can.
That would be fantastic.
They have a lot of places where they hang out and do things. It's a very friendly, being receptive type of area. I mean, it's home. It feels like home when you get there.
Isn't that nice?
It's
It
very
even felt like home to you.
Yeah, it was fine. I was not nervous. I was not uptight. And it was, I know I was doing more observing and not getting quite so involved, but I did let some of that come in and it just felt good.
Oh, that's lovely.
So,
Well,
and
I
never,
can't wait to go back.
Anyway, those are all the notes I have. Any more questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any more questions? We got just a couple of minutes left. Do they have any astrology? That's a question. How would
Actually, they do.
How would you have astrology without? Well, the planets are the same whether you're in there or out there, so I guess it would work.
They do. They have astrology, and it's like, okay, here in Denver, they call it Rocky Mountain astrology, and it's done for this area only. Their astrology is done based on their background and where they are. Does that make sense to you? I mean, it's the astrology for them, just like the magazine that comes out quarterly is the astrology for this area. It's because this is where geographically it is. So that's what their astrology is for.
Well, that's interesting.
So.
Wow, that's very cool. Yeah, Laurie, I hope it feels like that on the surface of Mother Gaia someday before I'm gone. I agree.
I'm sorry about the noise. I have to have my door open or
It's fine. It's fine. It's time to go anyway. And
okay.
Do you have anything, any closing things you wanted to say?
Yes, White Dragon, I will take care of. I will go look at Athena too.
Well, that'll be cool.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Right.
This is so cool. Thanks, Heather and Priscilla. You're welcome. There's Spider. Are there any remote viewers on the net who think you? Are there any other remote viewers on the net that you think are particularly skilled?
I don't know.
I think Celtic Sheila, I think, is very good. I'm not sure.
I was going to say it's not something a lot of people advertise.
But I think Celtic Sheila does it, and she's very. What I've experienced from her, she seemed pretty good. I don't really know her which is crazy because I think she lives in Colorado Springs and we're in Colorado, and we should probably all get together because she's a way left person like us. So we probably just love her to death. And Whimsy apparently does that. Oracle of Whimsy. I didn't know Oracle of Whimsy was a remote viewer. That's interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, it's like I'm the last person to ask how to do it because for me, I want to be there and I'm there. You know, it's.
Oh, well, that's the way it goes, girlfriend.
I'm sorry, I can't help more than that.
Whimsy's in Oregon. I've seen some of her things.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to find out there's an immigration office. Yeah, I wish it was closer to me too. I think that's hilarious.
But I was going to say where tell us is that's where I remote viewed, but I'm also being told that there is so much more underneath there. That just happens to be the big city.
Well, I'd like you to go deeper someday, and I'd like to go deeper into the mountain. Did you say that you were blocked from certain areas because of?
Not down there, no. And I got the impression there were suburban type areas
Oh, that's cool too.
outside of the city. But the city has, that's everybody. If they're taking somebody on a tour, that's what they see. They don't see all the hamlets and villages
Of
and
course
things
not.
that are. So
Did you see any tunnels? Did you go down any tunnels?
I could see where they were.
Okay.
And I just called them paths, but some of them were tunnels, but a lot of them, there was just so much there that was like cut out. Like you've got the bottom, and it just keeps going, and it's a huge cave. And yes, there are tunnels, but that takes you to another cave, which is
I want to
huge.
know what's there too.
Let's get through some of the other ones first, and I'll go back again.
I understand. I'm curiosity. I want to learn everything I possibly can,
It's I enjoy doing it. It's gets easier all the time.
Good. Glad to hear it.
And you have to understand, I mean, now I'm doing it because I'm saying do this. Whereas when I was a kid, I was doing it, but I didn't
realize how you did it. Or
yeah, I didn't know I was doing it.
Yeah.
I just knew that I had seen this and I knew it was right. But
that's so cool. Everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back on Saturday with Terry Lee, Pure Visionary Psychic Medium and channel. She's amazingly talented, has a channel of her own, and she will be joining us Saturday night at 8:00. So please join us and give her a warm welcome. We'd appreciate that. Until then, please go out and shine your light. Send that love to the planet, everything on it. And let's raise the vibration of our collective.
Yes. And take care of you.
Please take care of yourself.
Oh, and I had something for White Dragon. I had read at the beginning of the show, you said you didn't get any sleep the night before. And I have also been having trouble. But what I have found is that if I can raise my vibration higher and higher and higher, as high as I can get, I all of a sudden fall asleep. And then I'm asleep for the whole night. So if you can, don't count sheep. Try to raise your vibration higher and see if that will help you relax to sleep. It works for me.
I've been using the violet flame meditation to go to sleep.
Whatever works. It doesn't really matter what it is, but that one works for me.
Exactly. Until next time, you guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Heather, thank you so much for such a fascinating subject. And what's the next remote view you're going to do?
I have to look at the list. I just look at the list, and whatever you've written there, that's what I do. I think the next one is Machu Picchu, but I'm not sure.
Oh, that's right. I think you did put down Machu Picchu. Fantastic. That'll be a lot of fun. So that'll be next month, I guess.
Right. And Leah just said downloads. Well, that's next Tuesday.
Oh, yep. Downloads is next Tuesday. Fantastic. Until then, we love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you Saturday.